part 2 of our interview with Chong Meng, CEO of PSA International. In part 1, I asked Chong Meng about the challenges of going global as an Asian firm. In this part, we'll focus on Chong Meng's own experience as a growth leader. In 2011, you joined PSA International as Group CEO. What was the external environment like then?
Well, frankly, it was as though somebody switched off the lights on the shipping industry. It was difficult. The shipping lines had started to order their next generation of ships because as oil prices went up, they had to get to the next level of cost competitiveness. New capacity was coming into the market, but at the same time, Europe was going through its challenges. US growth was uncertain, and there were still many issues within the marketplace. For instance, in Japan, as a result of what happened in Fukushima. So economic growth was in no way a certainty. So you have new capacity, trade slowing down. It was time for being sober.
Now, what was the mandate that you were given when you took over this role?
Well, I was asked to look at the next phases of growth of PSA. Number one, do we have the right footprint? Do we have the right assets around the world? How are we operating as a company? Are we clear what our core franchise is, our core processes, our competencies, and how we apply that consistently through our assets? And finally, are we developing our people right? Do we identify well, and do we actually groom them well? PSA is already a very well-established brand name in the port industry. Many years of track record, many awards received for its operational excellence. So building on the excellence of what we have delivered in Singapore and a great group of people, it is certainly a strong foundation with which to establish how we will approach globalization and getting more out of our global assets.
Now, in terms of operational excellence, PSA is certainly tops of your industry, and you've received many awards and accolades for this. How do you ensure that your operations outside of Singapore maintain your same high level of standards?
Well, in the early years, as we were acquiring these positions outside of Singapore, we relied on sending our soldiers there. Up to now, that has been a satisfactory and adequate approach. But going forward, I think competition will increase. As the shipping lines upgrade their fleet, the challenges on operational excellence increases. Assets have to be redesigned, equipment have to be changed, the way we operate, the IT systems. It cannot be done by just this group of soldiers alone. It has to be done from a deep understanding of what it takes to create global competitiveness, and we have the scale and the base for that, and to codify that and enable that to be a source of competitive advantage. It all starts with getting people aligned around some common goals and vision. Not about today, but about where we want to be, say, in 10 years' time. 15 years of acquisitive journey. What about the next 10 years? Is it just consolidation? Is it more growth? If so, what does it require? These were the questions that we tackled within my early months. And we agreed a strategy with our board, with the management team, and with enough of our direct reports that I believe it is now quite aligned and shared.
You spoke about alignment when you developed your growth strategy of the board and your management team and the next level down. How did you achieve that?
We actually decided to form a group out of our second-tier managers, the tier beneath the management bench, and have them chew on the dilemmas and the questions and the challenges we face as a company and come back to us with their best formed views. And together with the management team and subsequently with the board, there was a lot of discussion and debate to eventually co-create something that we could all put our shoulders to.
As you implement your growth strategy, does it require new skills or attitudes amongst your employees?
The growth strategy identifies, for instance, gaps in our portfolio. So to address that, we have to hire more business development people with experience in deal leadership, in analysis, to be able to go out and identify and also develop on the opportunities we would be interested in.
So as you build this capability, where do you think about putting these people? Are they all sitting together in your home office, or are they distributed in your global operations?
Business development is just one example. We have also addressed our gaps in critical skill pools, like in the engineering side, in strategy, in commercial development. These are all the important enablers to making the strategy work, fleshing it out, and then ultimately executing it through the organizational strength that we already have. To address this gaps, we have hired from external sources new to PSA, but we have also paid careful attention to identifying the high potential talents within PSA, not just in Singapore, but around the world. And we have been mixing them up in order to deliver on those actions we need to undertake.
What advice do you have for leaders earlier in their career about how they can become more effective growth leaders?
I would encourage them to, as early as possible in their career, imagine what the company will be like in 5 to 10 years' time. If they don't know, they should ask. They should try to forge an alignment with the future of the company that they're going to be a part of and that they may one day lead. Helping them to imagine those steps in the development of their career and to help them to take the necessary decisions, even to coach them or to mentor them through that process is quite important. It's never too early to have those conversations.
Let's recap 3 key takeaways from Chong Meng's experience leading growth at PSA. First, growth leaders must closely align their staff around shared goals and vision for the firm. Second, involving managers across layers of management to define the firm's growth strategy aligns leaders around common strategic goals. And equally important, it helps them grow faster. And finally, aspiring growth leaders should begin as early as possible to understand the future shape and direction of their company and align themselves to this. Thank you, Chong Meng.
Thank you.